School taught you the Pythagorean theorem. It made you memorize the periodic table and the dates of historical wars. More than anything, it taught you that success was a straight line, a neat path paved with right answers, good grades, and perfect attendance. You learned to raise your hand, color inside the lines, and above all, avoid the big red F of failure at all costs. The classroom prepared you for a world of rules and predictable outcomes. But the real world, the one of consequence and competition, of unforeseen challenges and staggering heights, plays by a completely different set of rules. It's a world that doesn't care about your GPA, it cares about your grit. It doesn't reward perfect theory, it rewards imperfect action. And maybe the greatest teacher of these real-world principles wasn't found in a lecture hall, but on the hardwood, under the brightest lights, with the weight of the world on his shoulders. School might have taught you that success comes from getting straight A's. Michael Jordan is living proof that the most important lessons are the ones you learn from your biggest failures. The wisdom that built his legendary mindset, the philosophies that fueled his relentless drive, you were never offered these in a curriculum. These are the principles that separate the good from the great, and the great from the truly unstoppable. And today, we're breaking them down. This is the wisdom from Michael Jordan that school will never, ever teach you. The psychology of failure. Why rejection is your greatest asset. Let's start with a story that's become a modern myth, a cornerstone of motivational speeches. But the most vital lesson is almost always missed. It's the story of a 15-year-old sophomore named Michael Jordan trying out for the varsity basketball team at Laney High School. He was good, but raw, energetic, but at 5'11", he was deemed too short. The coach, Pop Herring, posted the list. Jordan scanned it once, then twice. His name wasn't there. His good friend, the 6'7" Leroy Smith, made the cut. Michael did not. He was sent down to junior varsity. In the world of school, that's a failing grade, a public notice that you aren't good enough. The expected reaction is disappointment, maybe some shame, and finally, acceptance of your limits. But Jordan's reaction wasn't what school prepares you for. He went home, locked himself in his room, and cried. He felt the sting of rejection, the burn of humiliation. But what he did next is what defined his entire life. The pain didn't turn into resignation, it turned into fuel. Jordan didn't just accept his fate on the JV team, he decided to dominate it. He turned every junior varsity game into an act of defiance. He practiced with a ferocity that bordered on obsession. He would later say that whenever he got tired and wanted to stop, he'd just close his eyes and see that list without his name on it. That memory of failure was his energy drink. It was the ghost pushing him to do one more drill, one more sprint, one more set of jumpers in an empty gym. This is the first piece of wisdom school misses, the true purpose of failure. The academic system is built to avoid failure. A bad grade is a penalty, a mistake to be corrected and forgotten. Jordan's philosophy was the opposite pole. Failure wasn't a final verdict, it was the starting pistol for the real work to begin. He famously said, "I've missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I've lost almost 300 games. 26 times I've been trusted to take the game-winning shot and missed. I failed over and over and over again in my life. And that is why I succeed." Notice his wording. He doesn't say he succeeds in spite of failure. He says that is why he succeeds. In his mind, every missed shot was data. Every loss was a lesson. Every failed clutch moment was just a down payment on a future success. School teaches you to build a resume of your A's, your awards, your honors. Jordan's mindset was built on an internal resume of his failures. He didn't just tolerate failure, he studied it and used its memory as an infinite source of motivation. He didn't run from the pain of being cut. He invited it to live in his mind, rent-free, as a constant reminder of what he was working to overcome. That is the alchemy of a champion, turning the lead of rejection into the gold of determination. The religion of fundamentals, the secret to true mastery. In school, there's a rush to get to the interesting stuff. You learn basic arithmetic to get to algebra, then algebra to get to calculus. The basics are just a hurdle to clear on the way to more complex knowledge. But what if the secret to elite performance isn't in the complexity, but in the perfection of the simple? This was Michael Jordan's core belief. At the height of his powers, a global icon, the undisputed king of his sport, his practice routine was a spectacle of pure humility. Every single practice, first under the legendary Dean Smith at UNC and later with Phil Jackson in Chicago, started with the most basic drills: chest passes, bounce passes, proper defensive stance, footwork, the kind of stuff you learn in your first week of Pee Wee basketball. Imagine being the best in the world at something and starting your workday by practicing the equivalent of writing the letter A over and over. It sounds counterintuitive, but for Jordan, it was everything. He lived by a philosophy you still hear from his coaches. You don't rise to the level of the occasion, you sink to the level of your training. He knew a truth that education often overlooks. Complexity is just a combination of simple things done perfectly. A beautiful symphony is a collection of individual notes. A masterpiece of literature is built from simple words, and a championship basketball career is built on a foundation of flawless fundamentals. Jordan's famous quote says it all: "Get the fundamentals down, and the level of everything you do will rise." This principle explains the gap between talented players and legendary ones. Lots of players could jump high or shoot from a distance, but could they do it in the last second of a tied game with a defender in their face, completely exhausted? Jordan could, because the mechanics of his shot and his footwork were so deeply ingrained through millions of repetitions, they became immune to pressure. He didn't have to think. His body just knew. While opponents practiced flashy dunks, Jordan perfected his jab step. While others worked on trick layups, Jordan was mastering the triple threat position, the simple stance that gives a player 3 options: shoot, pass, or dribble. He believed the spectacular plays, the soaring dunks, the acrobatic finishes, weren't the goal. They were the byproduct of a foundation so solid it gave him the freedom to be creative under pressure. A skyscraper can only be as tall as its foundation is deep. Jordan's gravity-defying game was the visible skyscraper, but the real genius was the invisible foundation he reinforced tirelessly every single day. Earning it, the lost art of an old-school mentality. We live in an age of instant gratification. We want overnight success, viral fame, and recognition on demand. School sometimes reinforces this. Do the assignment, get the grade. Show up for class, get the credit. This transactional mindset creates a dangerous expectation that if you just show up, you're entitled to a reward. Michael Jordan's entire career was a rebellion against that idea. His was an old-school mentality, built on a simple, brutal, and empowering idea: you earn everything you get. There were no shortcuts in Jordan's world. He once said, "There wasn't a line of corporations looking to invest in young NBA players in 1984. Those kinds of deals happened because of what you were doing on the floor." Think about that. His global brand, the Jumpman logo, that's now a cultural symbol, wasn't born from a clever marketing plan. It was the result of sweat equity. The endorsements, the fame, the fortune, all of it came after the work he put in when no one was watching. The most legendary example was the Breakfast Club. This wasn't some friendly morning get-together. It was a grueling early morning workout Jordan started in the late 80s because he was getting pushed around by more physical teams like the Detroit Pistons. His solution wasn't to complain, it was to get stronger. So he and his trainer, Tim Grover, began meeting at the gym before sunrise, before official team practice, for intense strength and conditioning. Soon, teammates like Scottie Pippen and Horace Grant joined him. This wasn't a team mandate. It was a voluntary pilgrimage to the Church of Hard Work, with Jordan as its high priest. The Breakfast Club sent a message to the rest of the league. While you are sleeping, we are working. They were earning their future championships in the dark, quiet hours of the morning. This mentality is a lesson that's becoming increasingly rare. School teaches you to meet the standard. Jordan's philosophy was to be the standard. He believed respect wasn't something you could ask for. It had to be earned through demonstrated excellence. He never asked his teammates to do anything he wasn't doing himself, and he was always doing more than anyone else. The work is brutally hard, but it's fair, because the work doesn't lie. The results you get are a direct reflection of the effort you put in. You aren't owed anything. In the end, you only possess what you have truly earned. Weaponizing weakness: how to turn your flaws into superpowers. When you get evaluated at school or work, you're taught to identify your weaknesses. The typical advice: manage them or find a role where they won't hold you back. Focus on your strengths. This is practical, sensible advice, and it is the complete opposite of what Michael Jordan did. Jordan didn't manage his weaknesses. He declared war on them. He saw a flaw not as a liability to hide, but as an insult to be avenged. When Jordan entered the NBA, he was a human highlight reel, but the knock on him was that he was one-dimensional. All offense, no defense. Most players would be fine with that and just focus on scoring more. But for Jordan, that criticism was unacceptable. It was a hole in his game. So he made it a personal mission to become not just a competent defender, but a dominant one. The result? In 1988, he not only led the league in scoring, but was also named the NBA's Defensive Player of the Year. He didn't just patch his weakness, he turned it into a superpower. This obsessive need to conquer his flaws was the engine behind his greatness. As his trainer, Tim Grover, said, if you wanted to get the best out of Michael, you had to tell him that he couldn't do something. This is where the infamous trash talk stories come from. But what's often missed is that he would search for any slight, any comment from an opponent that questioned his ability and turn their words into his motivation. The story of LeBradford Smith is the perfect example. In 1993, Smith, a relatively unknown player, had the game of his life, scoring 37 points against Jordan. As they walked off the court, Smith supposedly patted Jordan and said, "Nice game, Mike." Jordan manufactured an insult out of a simple comment. The Bulls played the Bullets again the very next night. Jordan told his teammates he'd score Smith's 37 points in the first half alone. He went out and dropped 36 by halftime in a display of pure, targeted vengeance. Years later, it came out that Jordan just made the story up to get himself going. The lesson here is profound. School teaches you to get a C in your weak subject and move on. Jordan's wisdom is to make your weakest subject your major. Confront your flaws with such intensity that they have no choice but to become strengths. Don't hide your weaknesses, hunt them. We're about to dive into the core of Jordan's controversial leadership style, a principle that forged dynasties. If these ideas are resonating with you and you're serious about rewiring your own mindset for excellence, take a second to subscribe and join a community committed to learning from the greatest minds in history. We break down these blueprints for success every single week. Now, let's get back to the demanding and wildly effective world of Michael Jordan. The tyranny of high standards, leading from the front. Leadership, as it's often taught, is about collaboration, empathy, and being liked. Michael Jordan's leadership style was not that. To many teammates, his leadership felt less like a democracy and more like a tyranny. He was demanding, abrasive, and at times cruel. He would get in his teammates' faces, challenging their commitment. He famously punched teammate Steve Kerr in the face during a scrimmage. By all modern definitions, he was a difficult leader. And yet, he was one of the most effective leaders in sports history. Why? The answer is an uncomfortable truth. True leadership isn't about being liked. It's about being respected. And in Jordan's world, respect came from two things: an unimpeachable work ethic and an unwavering commitment to winning. His high school coach, Fred Lynch, observed, he'd get on his teammates all the time. What he always expected was everybody play the game as hard as he played it. This is the key. Jordan's demands weren't hypocritical. He was the first one in the gym and the last one to leave. Because his own commitment was absolute, he felt he had the right to demand the same from everyone else. He wasn't asking them to do something he wasn't doing. He was demanding they rise to the standard he had already set. This created a culture of accountability that was brutal but effective. A lazy pass in practice would be met with a verbal lashing. A lack of focus would result in him personally targeting you in drills. It was a crucible. Many couldn't handle it, but those who could emerged tougher and became champions. Steve Kerr, after their infamous fight, realized that by standing up to Jordan, he had earned his respect. In earning his respect, he earned his trust. In the final moments of Game 6 of the 1997 NBA Finals, with the championship on the line, Jordan, the man who always took the last shot, drew the defense and passed to Kerr, who hit the game-winning jumper. That pass was born from conflict. Leadership at the highest level isn't about comfort, it's about growth. It's about pushing people beyond the limits they've set for themselves. Jordan's leadership wasn't about making friends, it was about forging winners. The art of presence, winning in the now. Our world is a constant assault on our attention. Phones buzz, emails pile up, and we're encouraged to multitask. Our minds split between what we're doing now, what's next, and what we forgot to do yesterday. School, with its bell schedule shuffling you from one subject to the next, reinforces this. The result is a state of perpetual distraction. Michael Jordan's career was a masterclass in the opposite: absolute presence. His ability to block out all external and internal noise and exist purely in the present moment was his most formidable weapon. It allowed him to perform feats that seemed superhuman. The most iconic example is the legendary flu game. It was Game 5 of the 1997 NBA Finals. The series was tied, 2-2. The night before, Jordan was diagnosed with what was likely food poisoning. Bedridden, dehydrated, and suffering from flu-like symptoms, his participation was doubtful. And yet, he suited up. Watching the game, you could see the physical toll. He was pale and often gasping for air. During timeouts, he would collapse into his teammates' arms. But when he was on the court, something shifted. He scored 38 points, including a critical three-pointer in the final minute that sealed the victory. How? Because on the court, he wasn't Michael Jordan with the flu. He was just a basketball player executing the next play. His mind wasn't on the pain or the exhaustion. His entire consciousness was narrowed to the task at hand. Get open, catch the ball, shoot. It was a mental fortress that no physical ailment could breach. We see the same thing in the final shot of his Bulls career in the 1998 NBA Finals. The clock is ticking down. The Bulls are down by 1. Jordan steals the ball, brings it up court, executes a perfect crossover, rises up and releases. Swish. Championship number 6. In that moment of immense pressure, he was the calmest person in the building. He was simply present, executing the fundamentals he had practiced a million times before. School teaches us to stress about the future. Jordan's wisdom is that the only way to build a great future is to be utterly dedicated to the present moment. That's where the work happens. That's where games are won. And that's where life is truly lived. Trusting the game, the unbreakable bond with your craft. There's a common phrase you hear: trust the process. It's meant to encourage patience. But for Michael Jordan, the idea ran much deeper. He called it trusting the game. It was a covenant he made with basketball itself. He put it beautifully: be true to the game because the game will be true to you. If you don't completely trust the game, then deep down, you're not going to be motivated to give it everything you have. This isn't just about working hard. It's about working with honesty. It's a belief that your craft is a fair and just entity. It keeps score. It knows when you cut corners, and it knows when you give your absolute all. This explains why Jordan was so dedicated to the unseen work, practicing fundamentals when no cameras were around, pushing his body to its limits in an empty gym. He believed every honest effort was a deposit in the bank of the game. Every shortcut an opponent took was a withdrawal. And when the moments that mattered most arrived, the game would pay its debts. When he took a game-winning shot, he wasn't just hoping it would go in. He was expecting it to. The game was simply being true to him, just as he had been true to it. This stands in stark contrast to the hack the system mentality we often learn. We study for the test, not for the knowledge. We learn the tricks to get the grade or the loopholes to get the promotion. We focus on the appearance of effort, not the substance. Jordan's philosophy argues this is a fool's errand. The game always knows. Your craft always knows. You might fool a teacher or a boss, but you can never fool the fundamental laws of cause and effect. Be true to your work. Put in the honest hours. Then, when the moment of truth arrives, you won't need to hope for a good outcome. You can trust that you've earned it. The purpose of pain, channeling grief into growth. School prepares us for intellectual challenges, but it's woefully inadequate at preparing us for personal tragedy. There's no textbook for handling grief. In the summer of 1993, at the absolute peak of his fame, Michael Jordan faced an unimaginable blow. His father, James Jordan, his best friend and closest confidant, was murdered. The world watched, wondering how a man who seemed invincible could deal with the pain so profoundly shattering. Jordan's response was shocking. He retired from the sport he defined. Then he did something even more bewildering. He pursued a career in professional baseball. To the outside world, it looked like a bizarre, grief-induced whim. But to understand this is to understand one of Jordan's most powerful life philosophies, the ability to channel pain into purpose. His move to baseball wasn't random. It was a promise. It had been his father's dream to see him play professional baseball. By picking up a bat, Jordan wasn't running from his grief. He was trying to metabolize it. He was transforming the agonizing pain into a new, incredibly difficult mission. Every swing in the batting cage, every long bus ride in the minor leagues was an act of remembrance. His baseball career was, by all statistical measures, a failure. He hit just .202. He was criticized and even mocked. But the public's definition of success was irrelevant. The true value was in the character it forged. For the first time since he was a teenager, Jordan wasn't the best. He was a nobody, starting from the bottom. He learned humility. He learned what it felt like to fail daily. This period was a crucible that taught him how to live with his pain, not by ignoring it, but by giving it a job to do. When he finally returned to basketball in 1995, he wasn't the same man. He was older, wiser, and humbled, with a renewed love for the game. His time in baseball, born from the deepest pain, was the unlikely furnace that forged the mindset for his second three-peat. The lesson is one school can never teach. In the face of life's greatest tragedies, you can find a way forward not by trying to forget the pain, but by giving it a purpose. Knowing your arena, the wisdom of playing to your strengths. The educational system often promotes the ideal of the well-rounded individual. You're encouraged to be good at everything: math, science, literature, history. The goal is balance. But world-class, legendary achievement is rarely built on balance. It's built on a radical, obsessive imbalance. It's built on playing to your strengths. Jordan's journey through baseball and back to basketball is the ultimate parable for this principle. His time in the minor leagues was an honorable pursuit, but it was also a powerful lesson in the importance of knowing your arena. In baseball, he was just another guy trying to hit a curveball. In basketball, he was a force of nature. His return to the NBA was an acknowledgement of this truth. It was a decision to stop being a well-rounded athlete and to once again become a sharply pointed spear of excellence in the one domain where he was transcendent. His announcement was characteristically simple and powerful. No grand press conference, he simply had his agent release a 2-word statement: "I'm back." Those 2 words carried the weight of a king reclaiming his throne. It was a declaration that the experiment was over, and it was time to get back to the business of greatness in the arena where he belonged. This is a critical piece of wisdom in a world that pulls us in a million directions. It's the courage to identify your primary strength and dedicate your energy to sharpening it. Greatness isn't about being a jack of all trades. It's about becoming an undisputed master of one. Find your court, find your arena, and then own it. So what is the final lesson from the life of Michael Jordan? It's this: the path to greatness is not paved with comfort, certainty, or avoiding pain. It is forged in the fires of failure. It's built on a foundation of relentlessly perfected fundamentals. It is earned minute by minute in the dark when no one is watching. It's a path that demands you declare war on your own weaknesses and hold yourself and others to a standard so high it feels tyrannical. It requires you to shut out the noise and be utterly present. It asks for an unshakable faith that honest work will be rewarded. It teaches you to take the deepest pain life can throw at you and give it purpose. And it demands the self-awareness to know where your genius lies and the courage to dedicate your life to it. School teaches you the rules of the game. Legends like Jordan teach you how to win it. His life is a testament to the idea that obstacles are not obstructions, they are ingredients. Rejection, loss, criticism, tragedy, these are not events to be survived. They are the raw materials from which character and greatness are built. As Jordan himself famously said, "I can accept failure. Everyone fails at something, but I can't accept not trying." And maybe that's the simplest, most profound wisdom of all. The real failure isn't missing the shot. It's being too afraid to take it in the first place. Which of MJ's principles resonated the most with you? Was it his approach to failure, his leadership style, or his unwavering focus? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Reread every single one. And if you're committed to building your own legendary mindset, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a video. Thanks for watching.